Hey friends, what's up and welcome back to this first new video out of the van. I can't believe I'm back from my long vacation from our road trip in our van that I'm just sitting in. And I want to record a couple of videos from my van. I actually want to work from this van. And that's why you will see me now every now and then from here working and also recording videos. This video is sponsored by Dev Mountain, an in-person coding and design bootcamp. In today's video, I want to show you how you can record a wireframe from a Sketch Wireframe UI Kit, and we will create a gallery, profile, and dashboard from such a wireframe. And in one of the next videos, I would love to turn this wireframe into an actual app, into an actual design. So stay tuned for the next video. And if you enjoy this wireframing video that we are creating, hit the thumb up button or subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. So I downloaded this wireframe UI kit. It's called Mobile Wireframe or Mobile Wireflows by Alexander. And I will post the download link to this wireframe UI kit in the video description. You can download it for free and we will start right away. As I said, I want to create a profile, a dashboard, and a gallery screen. And I think we should probably start with the dashboard. The dashboard will come first, then the profile, and then we go over to the gallery screen. And what we of course do at the beginning always is to create a new artboard for the screen that we are going for. And at first what I'm seeing is that the wireflow screens in here are quite a bit smaller than our iPhone screen, our iPhone artboard. Maybe we can just scale them up. I will just go for such a basic background, and you see that all of these things in here are symbols, and we have a couple more symbols in here. Let me just scroll a bit through this UI kit. So we have a couple of grids in here. We have splash screens, we have login forms and buttons and social login kind of buttons. Then we have some profile information, which is kind of helpful for us because we are going to create a profile with those labels and such a profile picture. And then we have a calendar. Looks also kind of cool with the gradient kind of bubbles. Then we have form elements, to-do lists, weather, maps, videos. So maybe videos will come into play, but I guess more something like this, the plug kind of layout will come into play for us because we are working with galleries and photos, and that's why we are probably using this screen in here. Then we have settings, we have response, chat. It's never ending. We have stats. You can even create a couple of stats in here. And then we have arrows, and we can use these arrows to create a real user flow. That's something we will cover in one of the next videos. In today's video, I just want to focus on creating the wireframes. Okay, and then we have a couple of more examples here with a phone. That's also kind of cool. Maybe I'm using the phone as a background for my screens. I think that looks kind of cool. Then we have onboarding, sign up, and timeline, and some other stuff. And down here we have an example of the wireframe and wireflows coming together into a user flow. You can download this, as I said, in the video description and use all of those arrows and screens for free. Now let's jump into our first screen. As I said, it's going to be the dashboard, and I want it to contain information about the users, information about the photos that they are uploading and posting, and the photos itself, of course, and maybe something like a tab bar. I don't know if we can use some of these elements in here for the actual dashboard, for the normal UI components like a tab bar or something like that, but we will figure it out very soon. If not, we will maybe just start out with the content only, and I think that's a good way to focus on content first and then use all of those elements that are required for navigation, for OS guidelines and so on. But content is king, and we should focus on content first. So we have a couple of cool elements in here for a grid. We could go and say, okay, the dashboard should list all of those different photos that we are working with. the uploaded photos by users, and we can focus on a grid like this that is very linear, or we could go for a bigger grid that has bigger photos in it, and we could even create a switch. Like you can, as a user, you could maybe switch from one grid to the other inside the app using a button or something like that. I think that's a good way to do it. But I think we will use the grid in here with those smaller images, and we can actually even use this one, which has somehow this grid and some labels below it. So I'm gonna copy this this image, and I'm gonna post it in here. So let's try out how we can scale this up. If I'm just dragging it using our normal ways, using our normal drag and drop possibilities, you see that we get about what we want actually. I can even scale it like how I want, but I want to keep the aspect ratio, and then we have it in here. Actually, I want to detach it from the symbol because I don't need the symbol itself. I just want to grab the content in here and then also work with those inner things. That's why I'm gonna detach the symbols real quick, and then we have the frame, and the frame should actually be a bit more rounded like that. A bit more, a tad more like this. And what I forgot to say is we are creating a dark app. So the final app that we are designing in Sketch will be dark. That's why I would love to focus on a dark UI from the beginning. That means I will turn this screen now into a dark screen. What I'm gonna do is, I saw that there's some background in here because it's the screen base apparently. Don't know if we actually need that layer. I'm gonna just delete it real quick. In here we have some borders that we can work with. Just try them out. Yeah, make it a bit more like that. And then of course, as I said, I want to make it dark. That's why I would love to just drag it down a bit to about like this. And then of course we need to check all of those different bars in here and change their color, or change their opacity at least. Because actually, I mean, the color is fine, it's just a bit too bright for what we are going to do, and this right here looks much better. Okay, last thing I'm gonna do is to change the border color a bit, so we have a more darker look. And boom, that's how we created such a simple dark interface. This is going to be, as I said, the dashboard. So let's rename our artboard 2. And what I want to display is information about the graphic, as I said, the image, the photo, the user, and a small description or title of the photo itself. So we could think about we could like try out a few things. So one thing is, we could actually move the photo up a bit and then grab one of those bars and drag them in here. Like we could actually display the label of the photo inside or above, a layer above the photo itself, and just increase the brightness or the opacity a bit, and then position it like that. And then we also have another title down here. So okay, if we want to do that, I would love to just reduce the size of our graphic, of our photo, quite a bit, so it looks a bit better. So that's definitely something we could do. So you see on the left side, it's using the title inside the photo. On the right side, you see that the title and the information about the author, about the uploading person, is below the photo. And I love both. I love both. Maybe it's also something we will figure out once we create the actual design. And that's a small tip for you. If you're creating wireframes, it's always very hard, as you can see, to not focus too much on details. I think that was even maybe enough or too much of focusing on details. Usually you want to create a wireframe very fast and very efficient, and then use more time for the actual design process. that's why I decided now to delete the left part. I would love to continue with that one on the right, because I think it looks much better. So I'm gonna just copy that or duplicate it and drag it over to the left again, like that. And we are using this for the base of our dashboard. Okay, so of course there are a few things missing in here, and if you want, you can of course focus on them too. You could add a tab bar at the bottom, as I said. I'm gonna go down to the frame layer, and then of course I want to have a tab bar here. Tab bars are like, I don't know, I love tab bars. Mask, and then you can just position it correctly, reduce the fill, or even get rid of it at all. Don't have anything at all. And then just try out a few things. Oops. Yeah, Sketch, you need a permission, I know. I'm using Sketch Beta here, that's why it was asking me for the permission. Usually it shouldn't do that if you're using it for yourself. But that's basically a way how you could use or create a tab bar for your design. And in here, of course, you would have a couple of buttons, a couple of icons that would help you to navigate through the app. Boom, like that, 100% width. And of course, usually you need the same at the top too. So let me bring this up and let me try it out here. Usually you will have like a logo up there or something like that, and I would like to have a logo there too. So that's why I'm gonna like copy one of those icons in here. I will just try out to copy it from here, and I don't want to use the rain icon, I just want to use the cloud one. Give me the cloud. I'm gonna drag it out of here, and then we can actually copy it and use it for our design too. So I'm gonna paste it in here and then change the color a bit. And that's basically the wireframe for our dashboard. Next up is the user profile. I will just make a copy of this one so we have a similar style. And of course I still want to display some of these graphics in here, but they can actually move down quite a bit. And then that's when we have to actually move our content a bit. And in here I would love to have a blur, but not a Gaussian blur, but a background blur. That's how you can really smoothen up your designs, just like that. Boom, there we have it. That looks kind of cool, to be honest. Next up is adding some information about the user. Username, avatar, and then maybe some small description or something like that. So we go back into our Wireframe UI Kit that we have in here, and then we search something about chat, users, and basically that is actually what I want. So I'm gonna detach it again. I'm gonna go in the folder and check out what else is hiding in here. So I want these two bars because I, as I said, want to have a user name, user description, and a photo of the user. And then I'm pasting it in, in here. So I have it in here, and then we can actually just scale it up like that. And I think we need to maybe correct it a little bit once the size is fine. Okay, like that. And what we did before with those labels down here was to just decrease the opacity a little bit. But because it's one of the most important information on this page, because it's about the user, I will give it a little bit more exposure, just like that. And then we have a user profile in here. Of course, if I would design the whole app, I would do something like this, like adding a bit more space in here, you know, to have some separated areas, like that. Drag those layers in here too, something like that. If you don't want to do that because you want to create the wireframe fast, it's also fine to don't think about those facts first. Yeah, this down a bit, and boom, we have our user profile ready using the Wireframe UI Kit. Next and last screen is going to be the detail of our photos in here. So you can just click and tap on one of these photos, and then it is opening up the photo page. Rename this profile, and then copying it, and this is going to be the detail page. Okay. Well, no, detail page is something a little bit wrong. It sounds a little bit webby. We're going to create a detail photo screen. And now it's twisting. It's vice versa now. The user and the information about the user is secondary. Primary information on this page is going to be the photo itself, and we can actually get rid of most of them. And we just need to focus on one actually. Boom, boom, boom. And the user information should stay on this page, but you will see it will get a much less prominent position. Like that, probably somewhere at the bottom. Scaling it down quite a bit. Then we have the information about the user. Scaling it down too, and then we can post it, drag it in here. We don't actually need the secondary information about the user, just the username, and maybe something like the amount of followers he or she has, something like that. So the user information should be, I don't know, should be in here, and maybe we should post in here something like a follow button, you know. You always need such a follow button, and we can also put this one inside the profile. And that's actually something I came up with by creating such a wireframe. I didn't think about it at first, but I came up with the idea to add such a user follow button because I just looked at the wireframe and thought, okay, there's something missing in here. And I think that's one of the most important things, to actually find out new things you would love to add into your designs, to find problems that you didn't think about at first, etc. So you have a big prominent follow button to keep some engaging features in here. And yeah, now let's take some time to actually enhance the photo in here. So the actual most important content. We have a pretty prominent photo in here now, like that, full screen or almost full screen. Can I think make it even a little bit more bigger than that? Okay. And then I would love to add, as I said, the information about the title or camera information about the photo down here. So maybe something like that. And we can actually also say, okay, the secondary information about the photo should be somewhere down on the right side. Okay, so yeah, as I said, I want to have the follow button also on the profile of the user. So we need to add some space for the button itself. Maybe reduce the size of the description and the username a bit. And that way we have enough space to add a follow button, like that. So that's the rough design. That's the rough user flow. Of course, it's not the most beautiful design, but it gets the job done. And that's the most important thing. Quick user flows, quick wireframes, and then you have more time. You have so much time in the design process, in the UI creation process. And that was a small video about creating such a wireframe inside Sketch using a pre-designed and pre-created Wireflow UI Kit, Wireframe UI Kit, whatever you want to call it. You can download all of these things, the Wireframe UI Kit and my screens, down in the video description of this video. If you enjoyed it, as I said at the beginning, hit a thumb up and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see us in the next upcoming videos. Bye! Dev Mountain offers housing at no extra cost for immersive students, and they have a career services team to help with job placements. Dev Mountain would love to hear from you, so be sure to click the link in the video description if you or somebody you know is ready to dive into the UX design program.